Welcome to Actual Scale Modelling. This is part 8 of the Airfix Hellcat scale 1 to 24. In part 7 I was building the engine block. In part 8 I'm going to carry on with the engine block, starting off with putting the ignition leads in. So let's have a look at this. So I'll just start off where I left off. As you can see, this is where the last video ended. I'm putting in the ignition leads, these copper wires, and I'm just testing them really. I was planning on putting them in this way, but I thought of a better way to do it. So I was trying to put them in, bending them in position. That's proving a bit difficult. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to anchor them all in first. So I'm just taking the copper wire, putting a little bit of super glue in, and putting them in the actual unit like so. And I'll carry on doing this all the way around and on the back. I've already done some on the back just to see where I put them. But you can see there, that's the ones on the front. So I'll carry on doing this all the way around. So, oh, one's just fallen out. Obviously wasn't dried. So that's that. Now I will have to start bending them in place on that. I'll do a couple until it looks more ordered, then I'll come back and show you what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm taking each ignition lead and with my tweezers threading them through the holes and areas where the leads go. It's quite obvious on the instructions where they have to go, and just pulling them through. Being gentle, obviously you don't want to break the connections. I did actually break a couple doing this. I do cement them, but just thread them through and pull them through to the other side. And you really want to get them tight, but not too tight, just so that you can see. I don't know whether the camera can pick them up or not, barely, but they are in there. You can see them inside the little gaps and just running over the top of the engine there. So now once it's at that stage, we have to bend them in to the position. Now the little bars that I put on earlier on in the other video, one or two came off, and I decided to take them all off because it was easier to put get the wires into position. So once they're there, I just take my tweezers and bend the copper wire down to the location point, which is on the collar that you see there, the coloured collar, and then I just snip off any excess. Just be careful, you're not going to be snipping off any that you haven't moved into position yet. But obviously they're wires, so that they can bend out the way without harming them. You know, just don't do it too aggressively and you won't break the points off you've already glued on. So now they're snipped off, I'm just using a spot of super glue on the location points, and then I'm just bending the copper wire into the recess point. You may have to hold it for a couple of seconds until it sets, but once it's in, that's it. It shouldn't really come out after that. So there you can see that the block's starting to form. It goes in fours, and just repeat the pattern all the way around. It takes a while to do it. It took me quite a while to do, but as you can see them just about there. Make them out. Them bent over onto the location points. Then it was a case of having to put in the little crossbars back on, which they came off quite cleanly actually. So because I was only using tiny amounts of cement to hold them in place, it was easy enough to take them off. Now I did notice that I painted the collar in the wrong colour. I painted it in brass and it should have been copper. So I'm painting this in Rebel Aquacolor 93 copper instead of the 92 bronze. So it does make a difference as well. It was completely my mistake. these things happen. Luckily it was quite easy to rectify. So now I've got to make up the surrounding parts for the engine block, and this is just a little foot pad thing, and this got painted in Revel Aquacolor 08 matte black, and attached to it is a lever or a wire, and that's 93 copper. I'm not sure what this part's for, but it's a lever of some sort anyway. Well, I've got to fit these pipes. These are painted in Tamiya's X10 gunmetal. I've already fitted one here. No, the camera can pick that up. And it's difficult. There's 9 in total to fit. But this longer arm of the pipe has to go underneath this black collar. So it goes underneath the wire, underneath the black collar, and it fits in one of these recess points here, but actually on this side, so on the opposite side. So they're very tight, and it took me about 20 minutes just to fit that one. So I'm going to see if we've got any better luck fitting this one. So a little bit of cement on the tape. I'm not putting much on, it won't need much. The last one was quite a tight fit, and of course you don't want loads of cement on it because it'll ruin your paintwork, what you've already done. So I'm just placing this underneath the black collar, lining the smaller pipe up with the pipe, and then try and pushing the bottom part into place. Now this is the difficult part. That's it. Just had a pop and a clip, and that's it in. So I'm just checking to make sure it's connected. Yeah, no, it's not going anywhere, it's actually solid in there now. So be careful with it. The bottom part fits into this little recess hole here, and you know, the little connection part there. So it's quite difficult. So I've got 7 left to do now. That one was a little bit quicker. I'd imagine by the time I come back around, I'll probably have sussed it out or do it easier. But then that's the nature of it. If you're doing it though, careful that you're not going to squeeze your wire out of positioning. So that's them all in now. Took a little bit of time. I discovered while doing them, if you use the outer one and the bottom as your anchor points and just push it in underneath the black collar, don't worry about lining up the longer pipe until these two are in place. Once that clicks into place, it's not going to move. And then I just took my tweezers and pushed it in and angled it up so it made the connection. You may have to reposition your wire once you do this. I got away with it slightly. You can also come along that end, that side, and try and lever them up as well. So I think that's probably the best way to do it. But you never know, there might be an even better way that I haven't recognised. But nevertheless, that's them on now. This part here that I glued up first goes on here, like so. I'm going to have a look to see whether I will fit this now or not. The instruction says fit it before I fit these pipes, but I'm glad I didn't, because I probably would have destroyed it while I was trying to fit in these pipes. So carry on building up the engine block. There's various little collars and cylinders going on. This one is painted in Rebel colour 78 tank grey, and it just slips on here. You may have to thin the inner wall in, like I did when I was initially building the engine, because it is a tight fit. Again, push it down as far as it'll go before you're happy with the positioning. The next part just sits on top. It's got 3 location points to guide it in. There's a couple of cylinders, and they get painted in H28 metallic black by Mr. Hobby. And as you can see there, I'm chipping away at my paintwork a little bit, so that will have to be readdressed later on. So there's a couple of little caps that go on the side of the last unit I put on. Not sure what they're for. They're probably just access cap, oil cap type thing. But nevertheless, there's little spindle points on them, and they're getting painted in Rebel Aqua Colour 93 copper, while the actual body is painted in Mr. Hobby 28 metallic matte black. So as it says, they go on the sides there, and I placed the little copper parts that I painted onto the actual collar. I'm pretty damn sure they're part of the ignition links, thinking about it. Next to go on is starting building up the framework. As you can see, it's one big circular unit, and this is getting painted in Tamiya's F6F-5 cockpit green, like most of the interior parts. There's 4 location points this sits on. There's little grooves on the actual unit itself, and the bracket on the engine just pokes out slightly, and they sit on it. It may be a little bit tricky to get it square on, but it's vitally important that you do so. So the engine's going to have to be set aside for a while for it to dry. So in the meantime, I'm moving on to the prop, and I'm painting the tips with Rebel Aqua Colour 15 yellow. You can also paint all the way down the blade for ensuring an even surface when you put on the black colour. I think I'll bring part 8 to a close here. In part 9 I'll carry on with building the engine, and starting on the cradle to hold the engine. So in the meantime, why don't you check out the other videos on the channel, subscribe to the channel for the upcoming updates for this build and any builds in the future. Hit that like button, and of course leave a comment. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.